Mike Lim. So imagine the
Thanks.
auditorium, or you might know him as Darken as well. All right.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
hey man, really happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, wait, let me just mute this right here. There you go. So let's start with that. How did you come up with that moniker of yours, the
Darken.
Arkin? Yeah.
It was a long time ago. I think I was still living in Texas, and I think I was actually still going to school for computer programming. Um,
Oh,
but I was kind of doing just like art on the side for fun, and yeah, it's just you know my art was always dark, and I just kind of went with that, but added another A to be cool, just so it wasn't the normal darkened.
yeah, it stands out. I don't think anyone else has that name. So
Yeah, yeah, because
wait,
there's a lot of mics,
yeah,
so there's not a lot of darkens.
a little tip right there, guys. I took note of that because there's a lot of Justins ever since Justin Bieber was born. So I can't have.
Is that
Yeah,
who you're named after?
I honestly I was born before he was famous, so I'd like to say no. So I have that weird to pronounce name right there. Oh, okay. So we got that background in the bag. Uh, let's talk about how you started because I did a lot of research. I always do, and as far as I know, the only info I found was in your website in that brief about section. So, okay,
Yeah,
quick rundown. Okay, so for someone who's been in the art industry almost at the start of digital art,
yeah.
we only know so much about you. So, um, how did you get into art? Because you mentioned while you were living in Texas, you were making
Yeah.
art that was mostly dark. And, how did you get there?
Well, I mean, I always kind of drew like when I was younger and in high school and stuff. I would do a bunch of like master copies of like comic covers. So I would just
Uh-huh.
in pen and ink, and I would do those all the time. And I never really considered it as a career, and so I actually went to school for computer programming at the University of Texas in Austin, and I did that for like a year, and I hated it, and so I decided to do something else, and I didn't really know like what else to do. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then I thought, well, maybe I should do art since I like art, and so I switched like halfway. I think I had done one semester of computer programming, and then the next semester I kind of switched and did more of like art history stuff to kind of get those out of the way. And then I decided to go to the Academy of Art in San Francisco.
Okay, so when okay, let's reel it back just a bit. How did that
Okay.
conversation go with your parents? Because you shared earlier behind the scenes, you're Asian. I'm
Yeah.
Asian, and we all know how our parents think. So how'd you convince them?
I don't think I really convinced them. I kind of just did it anyway, because my dad's a doctor. So yeah, I think they kind of expected me to do the doctor route or computer programming or a lawyer, one of those respectable jobs. um, but yeah, I didn't want to do any of those. So
Yeah, you
be an
didn't tell
artist.
them like I'm switching here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I told them that I was switching and that
Uh-huh.
I was gonna be going to California. So that was kind of
That was
kind of
it.
weird.
They were like, okay.
They actually road tripped out to California with me when I moved. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's pretty cool.
Okay. So more or less, they were kind of supportive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got that part done. So when I was reading up about you, I kept noticing you like to talk about video games, and it seems that you're an avid video gamer
Hmm.
since the start of your career.
Yeah.
Right now, you're a dad. Do you still find time to play?
Not so much. I have a little bit lately since my kids are starting to get older and a little bit more independent. Um, so I've been playing a little bit just within the past year or so. But before that, it was pretty much nothing. Like never had time to play.
It's a
But
full time
actually,
dad.
yeah. I mean, my kids play games too a lot, so a lot of times it was me playing with them, like Minecraft and stuff like that. I like all the Lego games.
Oh, well, that's cute.
Yeah,
Because I did an interview a while back. Andreas Russia, he also talked about being a dad, but he
yeah.
doesn't game. But this time,
Oh,
like
really?
how he balances art with his kids. Is it different now? Is it harder for you to find time, or did your work schedule get mixed up? Because he talked about working at midnight, where when they're asleep until like 3 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I did. I mean, I kind of always like did that anyway. Like before I had kids, like I always stayed up really late, and then
Oh, a night
um,
owl.
yeah, yeah, I would only sleep like 3 or 4 hours a night, and that was just kind of normal for me, like even before kids. So
Uh,
yeah, I kind of just kept that same thing. Like try to do stuff during the day, like whenever I had time, but most of the time, the majority of my work would be done like after they went to sleep.
oh, okay. Not much
Yeah.
has changed. A lot of people can relate with like being a night owl. Just in Brushpoint
Yeah,
server, I see people staying up until like 4 a.m.
yeah.
Yeah, that was okay. Now, legend has it that you were playing a game when you got a call from Wizards of the Coast back in 2004. I was
Yeah,
like, my math sucks. Like more than 20 years ago.
yeah.
So, what do you remember? What game you were playing when they called?
I was probably playing WoW.
Warcraft. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, oh shit. Okay. And then
Yeah.
wait, how would you land that gig? Like, did you send out your portfolio and then out of nowhere they gave you a call?
Yeah, so when I graduated, like since it was, back in the day, we actually sent out mailers to companies, so sent out like portfolio samples and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so I think I sent out about like, I don't know, maybe around 10 portfolios to different game companies in the area. And I didn't really like hear anything back from anyone. And so I was
Mhm.
kind of just like sitting around, like trying to figure out what I was supposed to do next. Because, there wasn't really stuff online. There was no social media back then. And so I really didn't know like what else I was supposed to be doing. And so I was kind of just sitting around, and then I got that phone call from Wizards asking if they wanted, if I wanted to work on D&D for them. And actually, Fantasy Flight Games had called too, like the same day, which is really weird. So I started working with both of them like at the same time.
Dang, it's like the
Yeah,
planets aligned for you
I
on
know.
that day. Man, okay, so I was 2004, so
Yeah,
around 21 plus or so years.
yeah,
You've been around for like 2 decades, man. I'm 26, so like you've been around for almost like as old as I am.
yeah.
Just 5 years short. So I got a question for someone who's been working for that long. Are there any tips for longevity in a career in art? How do you manage to stay in this industry for so long? That's a feat.
I think
Yeah.
for for being relevant is just versatility, like especially as a concept artist. Um, Typically the people that end up staying in the company longer are the artists who are more versatile than the others. Just because there's only a certain amount of characters that you can create or a certain amount of environments or whatever. But if you can do all of them, then you have more value to the company, and therefore you're probably going to end up staying there longer. I know a lot of people think like you should specialize in something, but I mean, from my experience, being able to
Yeah.
do everything is better in that sense.
It shows in your resume. Like these game studios, they have like varying art styles. Like
Yeah,
Riot and Magic the Gathering are like super different.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool. Okay. Um, let's take a deep dive. In those 20 or so years, were there any moments where you wanted to like shift careers or like change? Because that was a long time. Or it was just really, you lost track of time. Oh, why are
I'm
you
so
laughing?
old. No, not
Yeah.
really. Like, I mean, I started out as an illustrator, and so I
Uh
guess
huh.
I wanted to branch into doing concept art as well as illustration. But as far as like doing something completely different, like I never really thought about that. Like art was just kind of the thing that I wanted to do.
Oh, okay. That's nice to
Yeah.
hear. Okay. Thought you were laughing because you like when I asked a question like, oh, I have this funny scenario. No, you were laughing because you feel old.
Yeah, back in the day, 20 years ago, when the
Oh
internet barely
well,
existed.
yeah, to still dial up internet. I actually
Oh
reached
yeah.
that.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not that old, man. Hey, you got the Asian genes.
I
You
know,
got the
yeah.
Asian genes. Yeah. You don't look old, but when we do start looking old, it comes down. It comes crashing. I've heard of that. Like when you reach like 50, we look like we're 80.
Oh no! Don't tell me that.
No, nah, you won't be there. Alright. Now speaking of stress, because talking about age and stuff. Now, uh, burnout is like the eternal enemy of artists. But my question for you is like, how do you stay happy in doing art? Because I've heard about other people aside from the people I've interviewed
Mm,
about their mental health declining and how it's kind of a struggle. It's like running
yeah.
uphill when you're doing that. But for your longevity, like, how do you stay happy doing what you're doing?
Um, I think it's important to do other things on the side, like personal art, because yeah, like going day in and day out of doing art for someone else and trying to make them happy um, can definitely cause you to burn out. So I think maybe just having something else you can do that's just for you. Like a lot of times when I do personal art, like I don't even post it anywhere. It's just kind of for me, like just to do something for fun. And I
Uh-huh.
don't have to worry about like pleasing a client or pleasing the audience of whatever it is that I'm making it for. Um, that and just maybe taking breaks too, like doing something that's not art related at all. I think for me, like having kids, that means that I can do like a bunch of other stuff that's totally not related to art. So it kind of gives me that break that I
Oh, okay.
need. Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice right there, and I think that's a great segue to my I guess final question, so we can get onto the feedback session because I know people are excited for that. We have two subscribers who sent in their work. So,
Okay.
last question in relation to that previous one I asked, if you were probably to see like a clone, a Mike clone, but like someone born around this era. He's probably 18 right now and about to like embark on his art career in college. Or maybe he dropped out because a lot of the artists I've interviewed have this pattern of dropping out being successful. So, anyways, a young kid. So it's about to start. It's like a Mike Jr. What would be your advice to that little Mike?
Hmm. My advice. Probably to do more personal art. Because
Oh,
I just recently like started doing personal art. Because before, like when I was doing a bunch of freelance, like I never really had time to do it, and so I would go like years and years of like just not doing any personal art at all. And I always thought it was weird, like seeing other professionals where they would do like lunchtime doodles and all that stuff, and I was like, man, I
uh
can't
huh.
do that because like I just don't have time to like do that. But I think making time for that would be important. And it makes me kind of wonder like what other stuff I would have now, like if I had done personal art more. Because
Oh,
yeah, right now I like don't have very much personal art.
most of your the stuff that you post online are client work. Am I right?
Yeah, almost all of it.
Oh, crap. But that's a lot though. That's still a lot of like a
Yeah,
body of work.
yeah.
Okay. But there, that came from Darken himself, guys. Make stuff for yourself. Leave something for yourself. There you go. And with that, I think our interview segment now comes to a close and now begins the critique session. So, are you ready? Do you
Yeah,
want to take five? Go take a leak or something? Are you
no,
good?
I'm good.
All right. Let's get this going. All right. You can share your screen whenever you're ready.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen.
Oh yeah. I believe DJ. Uh, I think he emailed you screenshots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me
so
just
guys,
let
we'll
me go
be
grab those.
accepting. Oh, sure. For the viewers out there, for the two-digit viewers, we are now accepting questions for Q&A, and Mr. Darken here can answer them while giving critiques. So yeah, let's check. Oh, hello, Jonas. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Dan. Oh, he's a new subscriber. He joined just for you. Darken was
Oh,
the
nice.
first pro artist I ever met at MTG Grand Prix. Great guy. Awesome work. Like, yeah. Welcome, welcome. These are new names. Hello, Evelyn. Oh, wow. We got new people for you. Uh, Dang, man. Stop calling me old. Nah, he's not
I
old.
know. I am old.
Wait, can I ask? Like, how old are you?
44.
Yeah, you're below 50. You're in your prime.
My prime.
Yeah. Oh, someone asked a question. Ella asks, "Do you also sew? I've noticed a mannequin model and loom at the background. Just
Oh no,
curious."
that's not mine.
Oh, is
Oh,
that your
is that your
wife's?
wife?
Yeah, it's my ex's.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
X.
I'm
I'm
in
so
like
sorry. X.
that's okay. Yeah, no, I'm in
Oh,
like I just moved my computer like a couple days ago into this other room that I'm in right now, and so this room was like the room where all the old toys went, and so there's like bins and bins of toys just like everywhere. This is like super
oh,
messy in
okay.
here.
It's all good.
Yeah, because before I had my
Depends.
computer just like out in the living room. It's like
Oh,
even messier
so
out
your kids can see.
there.
Do they ever like get curious? Like, hey, Dad, can you teach us how to draw?
um, not really. I mean, my 7-year-old, he's definitely like the artist in the family. His stuff is actually really good. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like his stuff's way better than my stuff at that
Oh, Ella says, "Oop, sorry for asking."
age. That's fine.
Yeah, good. Thanks for answering, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, keep them questions coming. So share screen, the button. Please don't press the red button. And whoever
Yeah.
designed the UI
Leave the
for this,
call.
put it beside. No, it's always like a little fear of mine whenever
Yeah.
I'm asking people to share the screen. Right. Okay.
Share the right thing.
Then we see your tax records or
I know.
stuff accidentally shared. I heard that happened to an artist that I follow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he's old.
He's old, like me.
He's legit old. No, he's older than you. All right.
How's that
Oh, we got our
possible?
first subscriber. He's got gray hair. Oh, first blood right here, Mr. Webstein. All right. So yeah, take it away, Mike.
All right, so this was so character design. I've actually never seen this moth over here. It's actually really cool. Um, yeah, I think it's a cool character. There's probably some things that maybe you could do to kind of make it a little bit better. I was looking at the like the coloration over here of the moth, and it might be cool if maybe you brought in like some of these darker tones here. Like you can see how this kind of goes from like a black and then fades into like more of a whitish color. Maybe that might be cool to incorporate in the body here. Like maybe some of this area up here in the shoulders you could have darker, and then kind of have a gradient, and then have like the whiter stomach. Which might be cool instead of having it all sort of the red color. Just to make it have some more contrast, some more interest. Uh, yeah, maybe even like the wings too. Like maybe have some of that color, like starting in from like the base and then fading out into more of the white color, or even I don't know, maybe even having like some of the red in there might be cool. And I think in terms of proportion, like I kind of feel like the like skirt area could be a lot longer. Like I kind of feel like it's a little bit short. Like it was kind of squished in because you ran out of paper, you know. So maybe like making that a lot longer, like maybe even almost twice as long might be cool. Just because he feels like a little bit short. Let's see. Yeah, like
So like,
some of these hairs might be cool too. Like these longer hairs here. Like there's a little bit on the head on the horns over here, but I kind of feel like maybe making them even more exaggerated, having those kind of coming out would be kind of cool and really creepy. Let's see what else. I mean, probably do like maybe something a little bit more dynamic too with the pose. Like maybe like these bigger arms here. Maybe you could have them kind of posed a little bit more instead of hanging down. I think that would give it a little bit more of a dynamic feel, which would be cool. Because one of the things with like concept art is a lot of times you want to inject like a little bit of personality into the concept art,
mhm.
uh, while also making sure that a modeler or whatever can come in and make a model for your design. But it's always nice to have like that little bit of personality because then that can also inform animators who come in and what their personality would be like, how they would move, and so something like that is always nice to kind of add into your concept art.
I
So
believe they call that the beauty shot. Am I, if I'm not mistaken?
oh, is it? I don't
So,
know.
I've been hearing that word being thrown around in concept art. Aside
Oh,
from like
really?
the Turner or the orthographics, that one
Yeah, yeah.
post that has their personality. Yeah, we got.
Beauty shot. I don't know. I'm old.
So
We didn't
yeah,
have that term.
I'm not even sure if it's like a term the kids are coining up. Kids, I say, I'm
Man,
26.
kids these days,
Yeah,
born in
whippersnappers.
the 2000s.
Yeah. Apparently,
Uh,
there's like another generation after Gen Z. I think they're called Gen Alpha. Those are the kids in the
yeah,
2000s.
I don't even know anymore.
The tidbit right there.
Alright,
All right. All right.
let's go to
There we
the
go.
next one.
Mr. Jonas. There we go.
All right, so more dynamic illustration, storytelling. Okay, so yeah, I think this is a cool painting right here. They're talking about creating a more dynamic illustration and struggle with colors, composition. I think in terms of that, yeah, you could definitely push it a little bit more with the composition and making it more of a dynamic pose. So for this one here, you kind of see that the figure is uh, completely within the picture frame. So a lot of times when you're doing illustrations, you want to have some loaded edges, and loaded edges are just where parts of like the main figure or whatever kind of breaks the frame and goes out of the picture frame. And so I think actually for this one that could help a lot with the more dynamic feel to it. So maybe kind of rotating her a tiny bit, and then um, exaggerating the camera angle so that maybe like parts of the snowboard are actually being cropped off on the bottom, so that it kind of feels like she's coming at the viewer a little bit more instead of having her completely shown within the picture frame. And I think that would work too with like the fisheye lens, having a little bit more of that exaggerated camera angle on her, because right now like there's a little bit of an exaggeration on it, but I feel like maybe she's almost a little bit too different from compared to the fisheye lens of the background. So I think having her more distorted and kind of coming off the page more would kind of make her fit a little bit better with the rest of the scene. And then like the orange glow, that too. I think you could exaggerate that some more. Like maybe um, as it kind of starts over here, making me having that like twice as wide, and then having it go
Mm.
thinner can make it feel a little bit more dynamic, have more of
Like a
that power
tapered
to it.
look.
Yeah, yeah, more like kind of like edge control when you're talking about inking, where you have thinner lines and then thicker lines, all within the same line. Because right now it's kind of fairly uniform in like the sides. So I think maybe making that a little bit more exaggerated would help. And I was actually like at first, when I was looking at the background, I was looking at the area here and I was kind of wondering like what happened to the buildings, and then I realized that it's the slope, uh, the snow, and so I
Oh.
think maybe changing that a little bit so it's a little bit more obvious as to what it is. Because at first I thought the buildings kind of just like disappeared, and then I realized that it was the snow. So maybe I don't know, maybe having like some other elements like along the sides here, like maybe there's people watching, or like flags set up to like show where the course is or something, just so you can get a better idea of what it is here, and it's not just like a blank area. Maybe even same thing with like up here where the snow kind of starts. Um, you could probably drop that a little bit lower so that you can see a little bit more of the buildings. And then again, maybe have some stuff up here at the top, like maybe there's some other people standing and watching, or people waiting their turn, or flags or something up there showing where the course starts, just to help make that a little bit more obvious as to what's going on there. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think even like having some more of these lit windows would be nice, because right now there's like a couple, and yeah, it's almost like my eye is drawn to this, just because there aren't
Oh.
very many of those, and so it kind of stands out when there's only like one or two. And so maybe if more of these were kind of sprinkled, throughout here, it wouldn't draw as much attention, and it would just kind of make it feel, more lived in. And it can be some nice contrast too, to like pop out like the snowboard. Like if some of these back here were lit, you have that contrast of the dark and light. And same thing, like over here maybe you can kind of pull out this other snowboarder if you have some of those lighter areas behind him, uh, just because sometimes they blend in a little bit. And I think even like the snow falling, in terms of creating more dynamic illustration, like have some snowflakes that are like really close to the camera and blurred out, and then some that are a
Ooh.
lot smaller. Because again, it's kind of like the light trail. They're a little bit uniform in size, and so I think just exaggerating like some that are really big and some that are really small. That way, it kind of just has more of the impact. Let's see. So yeah, they're talking about using a 3D block-in. I felt like they lost style because of it. No, I don't. I don't really think like. Oops. When I looked at this, I didn't really think, oh, they must have used a 3D base for it. So I don't think you really like have any problems with that. Um, I think they did a good job, kind of integrating 3D elements into more of a painted illustration. Maybe she could be looking like a little bit more at the viewer, like not totally at the viewer, but just kind of like more of a 3/4 view, like kind of looking out. Um, Especially if you change, the camera angle of her and have her uh, kind of being cropped off on the bottom. I think that would help to, maybe kind of connect with the viewer a little bit more if she's like a little bit more of a 3/4 view on her face. But yeah, I think that's That's all I have. Yeah.
All right. There you go, Jonas. Oh,
Yeah.
he's there in the audience right now. Webstein
Nice.
says, "Thank you for the feedback, Mr.
Yeah.
Mike." All right. We have a question. You mentioned being good at everything is better. How did you balance practicing for those different areas, such as concept art, environment, and full illustrations?
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just kind of, learning on the job. Um, when I actually got my first in-house position at Mythic Entertainment, we were doing Warhammer Online, and like back then, like I didn't really work on environments very often. Like I was kind of mainly a character guy, and so like literally the first day on the job, they had me doing um, all architecture and like environment stuff. And so I had to really just like kind of hit the ground running. So yeah, that was really hard. Like I felt really stupid because like I didn't really do that stuff, and I'm like uh, here having to concept out like all these. They were like docks for like boats,
Uh-huh.
and I was like totally something that I don't normally do. So I just felt like really out of my element like doing that. But yeah,
How'd you get
sometimes you
through
just have to. What's that?
it? How'd you get through that? Like, what's the secret sauce during that
I
stage of
just
your career?
I just had to. That was my job.
Oh, that's it, man. Back against the wall.
Yeah.
The-
I mean, they're pretty horrible, but
All
that's
right.
funny. Yeah.
Thank you for that
But I mean,
question.
like back when I was in school,
Mm.
I would just go out to like cafes or like parks and just draw like whatever's around you. So I think that helps. Like, don't just draw what you like drawing all the time. Yeah,
Mm.
draw everything. Like, draw the people, draw the tables, draw environments, draw nature. That way you can kind of get some practice doing that because otherwise you kind of box yourself in if you're only drawing like one thing all the time.
Draw everything. You heard it
Yeah.
here. Wait, so what were some of the things you were scared of drawing back then that
In
you wanted
school,
to conquer? Yeah, in school or when you were starting out? Because
well, when
I hate environment, you know. But
yeah,
for
yeah,
you, what is it?
yeah, I definitely was not like an architecture person. Like I hated drawing buildings, but like even before that, like back in like middle school when I was doing like comic drawings and the comic covers and stuff, like I would always pick like all of the characters that had a mask on because I sucked at drawing faces. And so I always drew like Spider-Man and like Spawn, like all those guys that had masks on. So yeah, faces definitely scared me a lot like when I was younger. And then like when I started going to art school, yeah, that's when I really hated drawing buildings and perspective and all that stuff.
All right. Thanks for that question. Thanks for the answer. Oh, we got another question. Someone's asking, do you plan to reprint your art book?
Probably not because um, 3D Total was the publisher,
Yeah.
and I don't think that they're gonna be. I mean, they already told me before, like a long time ago, that they weren't doing any more prints of it. So if I did, I think I would have to do it all myself, which I don't think I'd be able to do that.
Oh, okay. So yeah, self-publish. So,
Yeah, yeah, you
um,
have to
eh, eh,
self-publish.
so the ones you sold before, you printed before, those are like limited edition. Those are really rare right now.
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Oh, there you have it, guys.
There
Oh,
was
okay. So,
a Japanese version too. Those are
oh,
probably
cool.
even more limited. Yeah, and actually for the Japanese version, like if you take the dust jacket off, there's actually a different
Uh-huh.
cover on it, and it's only on the Japanese versions. Yeah,
That's ultra rare. Hope we
yeah.
find it somewhere.
Super
It's
secret
probably,
cover.
yeah, it's gonna be like $500 or more
Yeah, they
on
they
like
wouldn't even
Amazon.
let me post the image of it like on social media. They were like, "You have to buy the book to see it." I was like, "Okay,
Oh, that's how you make it really rare.
yeah,
Okay. Oh,
yeah."
dang it! I was gonna ask, like, what does it look like? Can I see? No, you don't. But
Nope,
yeah, never mind. Toodle says no. No, you're right. Okay. The next follow up question was, since you were starting to do more personal art, do you plan to do any Patreon content or a Kickstarter? Maybe a new book? But you answered the book part because you might not print your own book.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah.
I actually started working on another book like a long time ago, and I'd actually gotten permission to like put in some of my Warhammer stuff because for a long time, like GW didn't ever give permission for artists to like reprint their stuff. But
Mm.
yeah, they kind of restructured, and they had different people that I was talking to there, and they were gonna let me do some of that. And then I had like some of my Magic concept art because I did a lot of concept art for different Magic worlds. But yeah, that kind of didn't really go anywhere. Like I never finished it, and then like I didn't really know if I was gonna do a Kickstarter for it or what. I mean, I tried to do a Kickstarter one time for playmats, and that totally like bombed. So I
Ooh.
kind of didn't really do anything after that.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe in the future. We'll look
yeah,
forward
maybe
to
one
that.
day
The
I'll
yeah,
try to do a book.
the I mean, oh, we got another question from Jonas. Do you have trouble with coming up with ideas for personal work because you have done a lot of commercial work? Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of another reason like why I didn't really do personal art that much. Because I never knew like what to do. Like I'm one of those artists that I need a brief uh, in order for me to start working. It's like whenever a client says like just paint whatever, like that's my worst nightmare because I never know like what to paint. Like I hate it when it's like that free. I always like
Mm.
at least like some kind of even if it's just like a sentence of what they want. That helps me a lot. But yeah, when it's just completely open, I don't know what to do, and so I kind of never do anything. But yeah, when I got laid off last year from my job, I actually was talking to my sister, and I was like, what should I do for like personal art? Because I didn't really know like what to do, and she suggested that I do like a tarot deck, and so I've been working on that for a while. So it's been pretty fun.
Oh, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one last question. It's not related to like the previous ones. Is that painting behind you a Frazetta painting?
No, these two are Greg Manches.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I almost got there because I was gonna freak out, but still, that's great though.
No.
Holy shit. All right. Oh, if you guys have no more questions, we can wrap it up here because Mr. Mike has somewhere to go to with his kids after.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey guys, cut him some slack. It's like 6:38 a.m. in San Francisco. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, man. Hope you had fun with this brief
Yeah.
little chat. Yeah. Wait, one last. Is there any like links or pages that you want us to follow or show support? YouTube
Mm,
channel.
yeah, I mean, I don't really have very much. I just because I kind of stopped doing a lot of social media for a while. So I have an Instagram. I don't really use it too much. I probably should put some more stuff on there. It's kind of hard though, like because most of my stuff is under NDA, so I can't really post things, and so I have to wait until they're published, and then sometimes it takes years for stuff to come out. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
have too much that I could post on there. But other than that, I just have my website darken.com. That's about it.
Right. And we'll put that link in the description below. And before we close, I'd like to thank everyone for watching and please check out our website at brushpoint.io for monthly community challenges and weekly illustration processes. Thank you for your continued support and we can sign off now. Once again, Mike Lim, also known as Darken, and we are gonna say good night and good morning actually. So yeah, thanks everyone,
Yeah,
and
thanks a
we
lot.
are gonna cut. All right. All right. Mr. Lumpia is gonna spawn out of nowhere with a little summoning jutsu magic. So there we go. All right.